Harley Quinn returned this week to the DC Universe app for its big Season 2 finale, and that episode was called Runaway Bridesmaid. I'm Cape Joel, and by now you probably know this is the video series where I give my thoughts and feelings on the episode that was, as well as shouting out any Easter eggs I can find, so with that out of the way, let's get to it. As the episode begins, things seem to be getting back to normal in Gotham. The League cleaned up the parademons, and now they're being honored by the mayor. Yep, everyone got what they deserved, except for Jim Gordon, that is, who despite all his growth and accomplishment this season ended up exactly where he started, getting passed over for praise. A decision that will once again sadly force him to spiral out of control once more. Now, whatever became of Harley? Well, following her embarrassment at the hands of Dr. Psycho in the previous episode, she seemingly turned herself into Arkham Asylum so she can just be alone and not have to think about Ivy or her upcoming nuptials. Yeah, that's right, it seems that Pam still wants to try and make things work with Chuck, going as far as to even secure him his corn-themed wedding that he wanted so badly a few episodes back. Even though it's made very clear to the audience she's only doing this to try and save the big lovable dope's feelings and not because her own heart is actually in it. Come to think of it, Ivy finally realizing how she often sacrifices her own feelings for the betterment of others is kind of her big defining character revelation this episode. So the wedding may be on after all, but it may also be in grave danger as Two-Face, who in this show doesn't actually flip a coin but ends up living up to his moniker in other ways, decides to pit Harley and Gordon against one another by ratting out Ivy's guest list to Gordon, in hopes that if the commissioner can swoop on in and arrest a bunch of costumed villains, he might actually earn that respect that he's been after. Heck, they might even make him mayor. Of course, as Gordon says, he became a civil servant not because he particularly liked politics, but because he just enjoyed shooting people. Oh, that joke hits like a ton of bricks now, doesn't it? Obviously, when Harley learns this, she decides to break out of Arkham alongside Two-Face in an attempt to save her friend's special day, even though she knows full well showing up might actually only cause more trouble. This also means she's forced to come face to face with her crew, the other bridesmaids, and a veritable who's who of wedding guests. See how many comic characters you can catch in the bigger group shots, I know I did. But perhaps the biggest guest, though, turns out to be Tim freaking Burton. Yeah, he came with Catwoman, which makes sense considering he did direct those first two Batman movies. There's also a small but funny B-plot involving Clayface wanting to impress Tim Burton, hoping that we'll finally break him into showbiz in a meaningful way. Unfortunately, unlike Howie Mandel and George Lopez of episodes past, Burton did not voice himself in the show. Maybe that's something they can fix next season, which at the time of recording has not actually been announced yet. Things take an unfortunate turn for our hero when Harley starts punching out non-cops, which in turn causes her to earn Ivy's ire, who says that maybe it would be best for everyone if she just left the ceremony early, and Harley actually does begin to leave before she realizes all the flowers at the wedding are plastic fakes. Once again, this show does an excellent job bringing things full circle, and much like how Joker left Harley behind on the boat in episode 1, Harley refuses to leave Ivy behind in danger here and now. And not a moment too soon either, as once the vows start happening and Chuck begins to paint a picture of the perfectly pleasant, perfectly dull suburban life he wants to live with Ivy, it really starts to set in just how much she would be settling if she went through with this. The cops spring their trap and the media is even there to capture the whole thing. You know, it's funny, before when they were doing the whole no man's land thing and everything was topsy-turvy, but now the Justice League is back and once again the world has returned to its natural order of cops versus costumed criminals. I thought that was interesting. It's here we get maybe one of my favorite visual gags of all time in the show, and that is Kite Man holding Poison Ivy exactly like how Superman held Supergirl on the cover of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Harley heroically pulls both bride and groom from danger, and in yet another example of how far she's actually come as a character, offers to marry them both, seeing as she got certified online. And it's here the moment that I'm sure everyone has been waiting for, where the series comes to a major head. What will become of this love triangle? And I gotta say, I think the show sticks the landing in a major way. Ivy doesn't walk out on Kite Man, nor does Harley crash the wedding at the last second and declare her love like that might have happened in a lesser show. But here the writers do something actually pretty damn unexpected. You see, dumb old Kite Man realizes that while he may be dumb, he's no fool. He realizes full well that Ivy was never into him as he was into her, and any marriage they would have, well, comfortable probably, would ultimately ultimately be doomed to fail. In fact, he says that he's no longer going to be a casualty in this love is war story and flies off with, probably for the first time in his life, his dignity intact. Wow, most live-action superhero shows couldn't hit that level of depth and complexity, but hey, here we are. I think this resolution might actually end up making all the fans happy too. Well, I mean, except for the people who could never admit that the Harley show was always from day one a queer romance story, or maybe got a little too wrapped up in the character of Kite Man and didn't realize that this was the one out of a billion times the well-meaning dopey white guy didn't actually get the girl in the end. Sorry, this wasn't a Judd Apatow movie, and I like Judd Apatow movies. Probably because I'm the dopiest white guy that I know. The grand finale has Harley and Ivy desperately trying to escape from Gordon and the cops in a brilliant scene that references Thelma and Louise's big chase scene, but also, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna miss this, the first time that Harley and Ivy ever teamed up on screen, all the way back in Batman the Animated Series, which itself was riffing on Thelma and Louise. And so, there you have it everyone, Runaway Bridesmaid. And you know what, if this ended up being the last word written on the Harley show, I don't think he could have asked for a better finale. It was funny, it was heartfelt, it had action, great comic book references, as well as the type of deep, insightful exploration of romance and love and relationships that, heck, even regular superhero comics don't always hit. It just kinda works from start to finish. I don't think I'm alone in saying this show is one of the best things ever to happen to the character of Harley Quinn, who had been stagnating in the comics for a while. I think this show is going to cast a very large shadow for a long time to come. And I really hope moving forward that the DC Universe app takes more interesting chances on more shows like this. Heck, maybe even just give us a season 3, which again, as I mentioned, has not been announced yet. And so there you have it everyone, Harley Quinn Season 2 has come and gone, and what an amazing ride it has been. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been Cape Joel. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, sound off in the comment section down below, and be sure to follow me for more fun DC show reviews just like this one. I'm going to be picking up Doom Patrol Season 2 very soon, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. Until